So I think that my boss is trying to set me up. I feel like they're trying to set me up. Something fishy. I worked the last day I worked before today was Wednesday. Today's Saturday. And something fishy happened while I was here where the two back doors were opened, which have an alarm, by the way. So the only way that you can open the doors without the alarm going off, is to use a key. So I haven't put out a video in a couple days. And it's because there was so much shit going on the last 48 hours that's been really crazy. And I was really upset. I was doing a lot of cursing. I was doing a lot of yelling. Like, I was frustrated. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to even bring myself to put that kind of negativity on my channel. I'm going to tell you about it now that I'm calmed down. But, yeah, there was some stuff that went down last Wednesday. When I worked at the job. So just so you know, I'm no longer at the job, and we're finna get into that right now, but I gotta walk into CVS and get these meds. There was an employee who wasn't on the clock that day that I've never worked with before, walking around the store while he wasn't on the clock, and I thought it was fishy. I walked to a restaurant which is in the same parking lot. Like, I'm closer to the front door, from the front door to the restaurant, than I am from the front door to my parking spot where I park my car. I'm much closer. And I walked in there to go get food that was already paid for. It was already cooked. All I had to do was walk in, grab the food, and walk out. And by the time I did that, I came back and some shit was going down. All right, another quick bite to eat. Let's go deliver some food and see if we can make some of that money back we just spent. Show you something. You see these doors right here? And then look at the used battery rack. The used battery rack was sitting right there. So I walked past these double doors on 2 different occasions, and the commercial pro did on 1 occasion. Walked right past these doors to put the batteries in the thing, and those doors weren't open. It was around noon the last time we talked, and it's 3 o'clock now. It's 3:05, as to be exact. And I took 2 orders. One order was real quick, and let me tell you about this order. I've never delivered food anywhere else. When I was in North Carolina, I didn't do this. So delivering food, driving for DoorDash or Uber Eats is something that I've done since I've been in Florida. And let me tell you what my biggest gripe is when it comes to delivering food into apartment complexes. And like, there are no numbers on the buildings. So you get an apartment complex, and you get an order, and the dude's like, I live in this building in this apartment. And you're like, all right, it's simple enough. And then you get there, and there's no numbers on the buildings. So I'm driving around, and at one point I had to park to get us. I'm like walking around the building trying to find somewhere there's a damn number so I know which building I'm at. Like, it sucks. That's my biggest gripe when it comes to delivering food in this part of town, is that there's no numbers on the buildings. That sucks. But I did I got a big order that took me to North Miami, so I was excited about that because I got to drive around and see somewhere new and stuff. But I used my phone as my camera, and I need my phone to do the deliveries with the GPS and stuff like that. So I can't use. One day I get another camera, but something simple. But for right now, I'm using my phone, so I can't record and use the GPS at the same time. So y'all don't get to see. I can't record all of that while I'm doing it. But I just made it back into my part of town, and gonna be out here for a few more hours and see what I can do. But I just stopped for a break to I got me some ice cream because I wanted some ice cream and something to drink. So, and I'm gonna take a 5-minute breather and then get back to it. Behind me, those are the doors to the store. And then here, this restaurant right here, that's the restaurant where I got food that day. Like I said, so when the Parts Pro was leaving, we ordered the food. 20-30 minutes later, the part-timer was like, hey, can you please run and get the food? So I was like, all right, bet. As soon as we get a break. So we got a quick break in customers, and I ran that 5 feet from the door, and I went and got the food. See all that food? And then there's a bag on there. There's a lot of food to this one customer. And the shitty part is that I gotta get in an elevator. And I hate elevators. And you would think that it wouldn't be a problem since I lived on the 13th floor of the building I grew up in, which was the last floor. But somewhere along the line, as I got older, I learned I hate elevators. But I'm gonna try to get through this one.
A few moments later.
Yeah, I didn't get up the elevator. I was okay when I thought the building only had 5 floors. But then the elevator went up to 10. And I couldn't do it. I walked with all that food upstairs. No elevators for me. So when I came in, from walking there, the food was already paid for. It was already cooked. It had been sitting there for like 20 minutes. So when I came back in, the guy was like, when I came back in, the guy was like, hey, did you know the back doors were open? And I'm like, the back doors? What do you mean the back doors were open? Like they were wide open? And he says, yeah. Assuming that he told me that they were open, I figured he closed it. So I started eating my food, and this other dude is like, hey, he said, he called me over, and he's like, hey, man, he's just like, I've been here 7 years, and I know who my peoples are, and I care who I care about, and whatever, and he said, you need to understand that even if you don't do nothing, it happens on your shift. It's your responsibility, da-da-da-da. And I'm standing, and the doors are wide fucking open. So I'm like, I showed you where the batteries were compared to where the doors were. I'm like, dude, those doors were not open just a second ago. Those doors were not fucking open. So I listened to his spiel, whatever. I closed the doors. I called the Parts Pro and I let her know. I'm like, look, man, something ain't right. And this is what's going on. And then when I got off the phone with her, I called my wife. I called Lexi and I started telling her what I think is going on. So whatever. So in the middle of the phone call, before I called my wife, I locked the doors. I had to put a key in to lock the door. So when I called my wife, all of a sudden the alarm starts going off again. So they tried to go back out the doors and the alarm went off. Now, Here's my thing. The alarm, when I came in from grabbing the food, the alarm wasn't on. And from my understanding, the only way that alarm, those doors open without the alarm is by using the key. So the alarm was not on. That's the deliveries got me. Like one was an apartment complex, I already told you. Can't find the damn building number. So I'm driving around the complex. She's like, it's right there above the bike racks. So I'm looking, and it's behind a bush. So you have to know that it's there to be able to know that it's there. I'm like, you know what? I'm done for the day. He's like, yeah, I had enough of today. So I'm on my way home. I'm almost home actually right now, but yeah, that was enough.